The Spin-off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's me, Drew Opwalo, host of the Comment Section Show. Come join me and one of my iconic special guests every week on the show as we dive into the dreaded comment sections of our tagged videos and take down the most terrible men on the internet, period. Somehow, they won't go away no matter what I do, no matter how incredibly awful and mean I am to them, but I don't mind doing this work. In fact, if I'm being honest, I think it's God's work. So make sure y'all follow me on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts for new episodes every Wednesday.
Welcome along to the Real Pod. My name's Janie. I'm joined by Alex Casey and Duncan Grieve. They are sculling, quite frankly, some Red Bull over there in Auckland.
Chug, chug, chug.
Joey.
We
Talk about that later.
We have much to talk about. This is your reality TV in real life in New Zealand podcast, and we're here because of Nando's. They're very good to us. They're very good to you. Go get some chicken. Go get some halloumi, perhaps a salad, whatever you like.
Corn, you can get a corn.
Corn, yep.
Just
Avocado.
Did you already say so? You've said halloumi, eh?
Yeah, I've said halloumi. And cheese
I'm
garlic
dreaming
bread.
about just getting a halloumi, just a steak of halloumi.
I love that.
Yeah. Yum.
Do you eat? You'd eat that with a knife and fork, would you? Or would you just go hands in?
Maybe eat it
Or
with
no
a spoon
hands.
if I was a
Right.
old
No
man.
hands. There's a viral video waiting to happen. Okay. Our hashtag, I've changed our hashtag to hashtag the real pod. Is that all right?
What?
Well, because
This was not
I mean,
sanctioned.
I know it's not sanctioned, but that's what you use, Alex. That's what most
That's
other
a
people
bit.
Talk
use.
about what I do and don't. I'm not in control of that, Jane.
I know, and I know it's not what Brett made for us on his woodpecker sign, but
Right there.
Yeah,
No, I think we have to stay with Brett.
I keep fucking it up. I keep putting a that in front
They're
of it.
both valid. They're both valid.
We can have both. We can own both.
There's also a new podcast called The Real Podcast out of Australia, and I was all ready to get angry at it, but it's like highlighting Indigenous Australians and their work and so on. It's actually seems quite nice.
There are a few real pods out there. We really started something.
Yeah, that's what we did. But look, I think everyone's here because of The Bachelorette and how freaking strange and great, at least in my opinion, it is. So I reckon we should are we just going to charge on in? Is
We
that
are
the
definitely
move?
going to charge on in. Okay, so if you're new here, sorry about all this bumbling at the start. We'll try and rein it in for the next however many weeks Bachelorette's going to be on, but you have been warned. Also, we are on Facebook. We're on facebook.com/The Real Pod Pod. And also we have a special group which is called The Real Pod Corner, and you can find that on our Real Pod page on Facebook. We're on Instagram at The Real Pod Pod. We're just going to get... Whoa, Alex is putting out a finger.
I have
What's up,
something to
Alex?
say about the Real Pod Corner.
Yeah.
There are bachelors trying to get in, and they don't know the answers to the questions.
No,
and all
they're
these all
bachelors.
these wonderful new listeners who I assume are here are not going to know the secret codes, etc., from our
Maybe
rich back history.
Well, if you're listening now, I can tell you the answers, right? Can I do that? Because
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's okay. Okay.
But let's
so one of the
make it
questions-
a bit of context. It's a private group, and there are questions that need to be answered on the way in. And
Because it's a really lovely group, and we want to keep it safe, and we want to keep it for fans of the podcast, not just,
curious onlookers.
wanting to see if people are writing about them. So anyway, the questions are: what are the questions? Who makes the best chicken? You should be able to figure that out by now. I'm not going to give you that one, okay? Because we just talked about it.
And to the cheeky bachelorino who said KFC.
Oh, was that? Oh,
That's just
I declined.
wrong.
I declined.
It's
Did we
just
decline?
wrong.
That's wrong.
Sit
And
there.
the next question is: who presides over the cranny? Well, it's Colin's cranny, so Colin or Colin Mathura Jeffrey, if you prefer, is the answer. And the final question is name 2 segments of our podcast. We've got Reality Check, we've got Real News, we've got Colin's Cranny, we've got Mac's Kid Corner. Take your pick, okay? And let's get into one of those right now.
I have 4 weeks to decide if I'm going to drop my entire life for you.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
Jesus, bye.
Reality check.
I just want to say, this is the definitive, unofficial, which is actually better, companion podcast to the Bachelorette NZ. Because if you're an official podcast, you're kind of stymied by, having
City
to
Hall.
keep in with the show.
The man.
The man, your opinions, they might be your own, but you've got to be careful because you don't want to get in trouble. We have none of that. No restrictions.
None of that. We've got
Say what we like.
I hope you're picking up that gurgling, Alice. It is a cacophony in the studio, Duncan.
Don't.
I mean, this is the content you came for, right?
You won't get that on any proper
The official podcast would have no. I like the way we swore we would not mention it. We would just ignore it, and all we've done is talking about the official Bachelorette podcast.
I think it's
Okay,
cool. We're counterculture. We're punk. We're
I don't say we've been
just gonna
around
go
for
one
a long
loop
time.
out.
We've been doing this a long time.
That might be the issue.
Okay, let's start. So we've already had a recap of the very first episode of the week. We chatted about that with Art Green, the show's host, and that was great. He told us almost nothing. Bless him.
Who's
because
KG?
He didn't want to give anything away.
He's a professional. He's the establishment. Not like us, who can say
He wouldn't even
anything.
tell us.
Well,
he
we'll
wouldn't even
sort
tell
of
us who he's
occupy
remained friends
Bachelorette
with.
Street.
Occupy Eric Manson's Manson. Eric Watson's mansion. That was a slip
Hey,
and
though,
a
I think Art did
Where
give
did
away
they hold?
something. You know how he said he didn't want to tell us who he was friends with because he didn't want it to be like in case they turn out to be bad people, and he doesn't want to be associated. But I did notice that he's like tagged Liam in a couple of posts on the old Insta. So I reckon him and Liam are great mates. Honest opinion.
Yeah. Time
Okay.
will tell.
I'm so confused by what is happening on this show.
Why?
Because what do you mean why? It's so off format. I can't deal. For a start, voiceovers. We don't need a voiceover. We do not need a voiceover.
No, at first I loved the voiceover, but episode 2 and 3,
No.
I'm not into it. But I think I'm having more of a knee-jerk defensive reaction to it because if you've got someone making little sassy comments and making jokes about all the contestants while it's playing, then what's my job? What are any of our jobs?
That's a good point.
If Jodie
I
Whittaker's
feel like
there, just
That's
jiving
the domain.
along.
That's the domain of Love Island. You have to be amazing at scripting that stuff. Now, I just don't think The Bachelor's the place for it. It never has been. Aside from the host maybe giving a slight voiceover at the beginning. I
think you're right in that the format of the show, like the whole thing about there for the right reason, sort of implies that it requires you to suspend disbelief and go, you're not here to get followers, you are here to find love. And if you've got someone like sassing people along the way, it kind of breaks, it's like the suspension of disbelief required to fully participate on that level. That said, I actually think she's doing a really good job, and every so often there's like a legit zinger. And I like but it is a bit sort of half in, half out, like because it'll disappear for a long period of time, and then she'll be like go on a little sass rampage.
Totally. I'd much rather. There's been a couple of moments where I think it was on we're getting ahead of ourselves, but on the Aaron single day where there was something kind of hanging in the air, and instead of just leaving the silence, she just kind of breaks up and goes, well, that was awkward. And it's like, I would much rather just see that silence or see that, we don't need to be told that something's awkward.
Also, who I would like to be narrating those things is actually Lucina, like doing in the moment, like cutting to her in the moment, going, "That was really awkward," or whatever it is. Have her kind of be the voice that ties everything together, because I think that's traditionally what's done in this franchise. Anyway, the whole thing is great. We're seeing a lot of breaking of the fourth wall. We've got like the crew's gear hanging around in shot, which I actually don't mind that. I'm kind of okay with that because it feels like I think I prefer that happening though if there's like some dramatic momentous moment, like they weren't planning to capture it on camera, but they did, and they had to, they just had to roll with what they had to get the action. But when the guys are just sitting around like doing farts and stuff, and there's some flecky boards in the background, doesn't feel quite as, I don't know, almost feels like someone made a mistake.
But that's why it is very cutely New Zealand, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The gang.
No date
What's
cards. No date cards.
No date cards.
Issue with.
Good for the environment, Jane. Just use the weird phone tree. Tell one guy who then golf carts around the
electric golf cart.
telling everyone else.
This is the most sustainable bachelor ever.
It's just like they wander in and go, "Oh, I'm going on a date with Lucina, by the way."
And then the thing that's more than the date cards, the thing that's jarring is that it's like the lads, they're just like, "Oh yeah, it's sweet, mate," and it's almost like they're like, "Oh, gutted, he's going to miss out on golf."
That is 100% what's happening here.
That's the vibe, is that it's just like this cool lads camp.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes one of the lads has to go off and bloody have a date. So annoying.
Yeah.
That means that we've got mismatched numbers for our, like,
Ripper rugby.
Yeah, Ripper Bull Rush or something. Like, they're so it's that core group of just intense lads is that they just don't remotely. You contrast that to the intensity of the, like, did he look at me?
Yeah.
Of the Bachelor. It's quite jarring.
Also, just like doing bombs, just so many bombs on this show.
That nude flip. What an athlete Quinn is. Like, that's insane. He like came off a trampoline.
I love it. I love how New Zealand is. I feel like it's really, I'm still just getting to grips with it. It's not the show that I envision. I feel like the MediaWorks version of the show was much more true to form. And it's not that I hate this. I'm just trying to get used to it. I feel like she's not as held as such an amazing kind of mystique. Art's popping in. She's just wearing a little sockettes. She's got her Adidas slides on the floor. Like it just feels quite like she's not put up on a pedestal as much, which could be a good thing. I don't know. We just have to see how it goes. But the no date card thing really bothers me. I think the fact that they look like they're just having the best fucking time ever is really positive.
Is there a murder outside in LA?
It's coming from my end. Sorry about that. So Carol, I'm going
a lot coming from my end, unfortunately.
It's out of my control. The Lads Having a Good Time is a fantastic way to get people to apply for this show in the future because it looks like a blast.
The best time.
The best
Such a good time.
Get your hooters. You know what I mean?
Ear horn?
You mean air horn?
Air horn.
Because people can't see that and they just heard you say, get your hooters.
Anyway, she's staying at the Swiss, what are they called?
The haunted
Swiss
apartments
Bells.
down Vicky Park.
They're cursed. Why?
iWorks must have some kind of... Warner Brothers must have the craziest deal there. I want to shout out Warner Brothers, though, who make this franchise, correct? Mm-hmm. And have been were making it for MediaWorks before. I feel like they have heard the criticism that they've been quite restrained with their executions of some of these international formats. Like MAFS New Zealand felt kind of small and a lot of the crazy formal innovations of there's your brother on The Bachelor and here's a crazy celebrity and all the stuff that's been happening to the franchise internationally, it really wasn't coming here. I feel like they've, both with the second Bachelorette, but also with, all of the GoPros and just, it feels like they have gone, actually, we can participate in all of that. And yes, maybe some of it's a bit weird, but I love the fact that our latest execution of this format is part of that kind of culture of let's play with it. I'm really, really into that.
And we haven't talked about their biggest move of all. That there's 2 fucking Bachelorettes.
Well, I mean, I guess we were going to get to that at the end. But that's it's a huge bombshell.
I mean, we've heard rumblings and not just from Duncan next to me. So there is a bit of feigning surprise here, but I think it cannot be understated. What a crazy move that is. Because and correct me if I'm wrong, Jane, but the only other time they did that was that horrible time in the US where it was Britt and
they had to pick.
It was Britt and Caitlin.
and
Great
the men
season,
had to
by the
vote
way.
who they wanted to stay.
Well, they did.
They
voted
did.
the right way. Democracy rules.
To be fair, yes. In that instance.
So they did. So that was night one. There were 2 bachelorettes. They voted which one they wanted to stay, and that was that. And then they, the one who got the most votes carried on to do the rest of the season. This, by my understanding, is introducing a whole new bachelorette, and they'll be dating both of them potentially, or.
But then the strange thing is that Lucina is into it, or appeared to say, like, I need some help. So, like, how is she going to, like, is it going to be, like, what if they both like the same guy? Like, how is this going to work? Like, it's all so strange.
I mean, this is exciting, though. I'm really into this whole concept. I think we suspect we know who the other bachelorette may be. And I feel like it's going to be a real struggle for Tavita now that he's established this connection with Lucina. But I feel like this other lady might be his type. I don't know. See, if you've got this connection with Lucina, you've said all the right things, and now you have to date another woman and be like, I feel this way about you, but oops, I said the same stuff to her. It's going to be amazing.
It is, but it could explode the dynamic. It might be terrible. It might be.
It could be terrible. One thing's for sure, I have no idea how I am going to power rank 2 universes now. So if any sort of mathematicians are listening, data
Many people who know
analysts,
about the numbers 15 and
people who know how to count.
know how to take account of sort of 15 or so people. I was shocked to see Tavita so high in your. By the way, if you're listening to this and you haven't read Alex's power rankings, sort your life out. They're so funny and so good. They're on the spinoff.co.nz. But Tavita at number 2. I do not buy him for a single second. I'm like, you're an actor. And not a good actor. Like, you're just whatever she says. You're like
him.
Assessing. I know, but she's wrong. Like he's just assessing in real time what he thinks the appropriate response is. And Jesus Christ!
Oh my God, Jane!
If you.
That's what you get for talking shit about Tavita and Lucina.
So just again, some context for new listeners. We do this trans-Pacific. This is a trans-Pacific partnership. Jane is in LA. We can see her on a screen. She just went off screen for a second. We know not what to do, but it turns out it was to cause a massive calamity. A whole bunch of shit just fell over. Looks priceless Ming Dynasty vases and so on. Look, it's bad.
Okay,
what's going on, Jane? What just happened?
I realised that the bathroom window was open and that car alarm we could hear going off was probably filtering through there. So I closed that and then I came through and shut the bathroom door, at which point part of the bathroom door frame just fell off and brought down a little sculpture-y thing. It's fine. It's a puzzle-y thing. It's fine. I can put it back together. But I'm also nervous about the fact that our landlord is supposed to be visiting today.
The landlord should be nervous about visiting you, given that his house just falls apart when you do normal routine things like shutting a door.
Problem is, it's his house. And I feel like
that's how landlords work.
No, I think we fucked it up.
That is a problem.
No, as in, like, he lives in it. They've gone over there. He's back for like just a couple days, and we fucked his house up.
No,
was he going to come have a potter around or pick up his
maybe
sculpture?
We're kind of friendly. Anyway, all that
Put him on the line
aside,
with me.
what were you guys talking about?
Advocate.
Tavita, Lucina, electric. Maybe it's more physical chemistry between them.
I thought they were really good together. I thought they were very natural because there's
too.
been some very stilted conversations going on. I also let's start way back with the very first date, one-on-one date, which was with Aaron, the food tech teacher.
I love Aaron and sleepy eyes.
Love Aaron.
Does he teach home ec? Is that what food tech teacher is?
Food tech, yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. It seems very progressive.
He is so good looking, and I think I am placing my bet on this couple to be the final couple.
Ooh, also I think I didn't realise her dad was a school principal. He's a teacher. I feel like that counts for a shitload of.
Can I make it any more obvious?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And they did say episode 1, look for someone just like Daddy, which is quite weird, but fine.
I'm probably just going to be highlighting all the little bits of Kiwiness in this whole thing, and like how it's just like slightly different budget than its American counterpart. But he had to drive himself to the date, which I thought was kind of cute. Just going off in the Suzuki, going past the golf carts. They went to a ropes course. Had a little joke about the snug harness. Rude.
Oh, yeah. That's sexed up.
Yeah. She's like a proudly horny lady.
She is.
I love it.
They
No
did
kissing, though, but a lot of commentary.
A lot of, yes. There was one little whiz down a line. Is that what you call it? Little
That's not what you call it.
What do you call it?
Zip.
A zip, that little tree-to-tree thing. And then they just instantly sit down for a snack of some cheese and crackers, basically, and a glass of wine.
Wobbly
she spills her
champagne,
drink.
knocked it over.
And-
He was nervous.
This is where I
Have you
realised
seen
that-
you? That was the best moment of the series so far in terms of the authentic kind of chemistry.
That was so cute. That was so cute. It was on this date that I realised she is a giggler. She really is a giggler.
she giggles.
A lot of giggling. Hey?
She giggles a lot. There were times on the
So
Tavita
much.
day as well where I was like, she's just been giggling for like 15 minutes. I mean, I understand. I love a giggle. But
That seemed quite rich to be critiquing the giggling.
But she's a dork, man. It's
She's a dork.
incredible. Like,
She-
it's
I
almost
love
like an
her.
art thing. How can you be like funny, dorky, and a bit goofy, and also like perfect? It's not fair. You don't get.
I mean, I
everything.
think to be perfect, you have to have a little bit of that in you. Because otherwise, boring, right? True
I mean, it would be
perfection.
boring for
you
us.
need to have,
She doesn't need it as a personality trait in the real world.
no,
It's great for television.
yeah.
But she has no right to be goofy.
But it also, does it maybe in some ways explain her singledom at the advanced,
Geriatric.
geriatric older person age of 32? Is that like, you feel like she would be approached by all these kind of Glenn types
Yeah.
when she actually just wants to talk around with?
Yeah, I mean,
This is true.
I don't want to cast a shadow on the institution that is Art and Matilda, but I feel like Lucina and Art, just on paper and in person, they'd kind of make a vibing couple. Not that I'm suggesting that there's anything romantic between them or any sort of chemistry, but just in terms of personalities.
Yeah. I mean, look,
she's
it's
got
the
Matilda
elephant in
vibes,
the
put it
room.
that way. Oh, I wish I'd never said that.
I hate it, but it's true. But I mean, obviously, like Art and Matilda are just beyond perfect. So,
They're fine. They're solid.
but
Nothing's
the
ever
one
gonna
thing
happen
is
there.
that Lucina can't be unaware of the fact that a perfect match for her, who is definitely better than all of the other guys on the show, is regularly having intimate conversations with her, and that
Yes.
would that be distracting to your ability to go out and forage for love in the zipline forest?
I mean, I
don't
guess
know.
at the end of the day, the fact that he's taken would be, she'd just have to remind herself of that all the time and be like, well, all the good ones are gone. So this is what I've got to work with. I shouldn't have left it so long and gotten myself so old before I started this
An
journey
older
for love.
person.
An older person.
Someone, I think it was Renee Church, did a great tweet. There was like a screen grab from 30 Rock of, what's her name, Jenna, walking into a room and saying, pipe down 5s, a 10 is speaking. And that's like Art Green whenever he walks into the cocktail party. It's sad, but it's true. Also, I don't think it's true. I think there's some...
There's some sevens.
At least a 6.9 in there somewhere.
Oh,
Easy
right.
on. Bloody hell.
Oh, that is rude. I didn't realise. Oh my goodness, I apologise. Look, I think probably the most disturbing thing that happened for me all the episodes this week was seeing what a bunch of guys in a lovely mansion do when they're tasked with raising a Roman blind. I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but there was a Roman blind in the back of one of the shots, and it was just, you know, what Roman blinds are, right? They're the ones that kind of they fold up on themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
It had just been hauled up with no care
Was it a Kimbo?
or respect. It was more than a Kimbo. You know what happens if you just pull a Roman blind without making sure that the folds sit perfectly on top of each other? Well, it was that, but it was on
the crazy angle.
which I have problems with. Whoever was responsible for that, no rose.
These men,
Ever again.
they're quite feral as a bunch.
Anyway,
who do you
so
think's the most feral? Like, who did the blinds, do you reckon?
who did the blinds? Someone mustly, I think.
Just didn't know their own strength.
Didn't know their own. I mean, it could have been Glenn. It definitely could have been Glenn.
I don't think it's Glenn. Glenn's too sort of he's got a touch of the Patrick Bateman. Like, he's obviously not. I'm not saying he's a serial killer or that he's anything like his, you know, in that realm. I just mean that like he seems to sort of calculate a lot, whereas that seems like an oafish thoughtless thing to do.
Yeah, but it also seems like the work of an angry man, like someone who's gotten up in the morning, they're not happy, and they're angry. And
Crazy.
Could have been Liam. Liam was in a mood.
Yeah, I can imagine Liam doing it after he got woken up by the air horn.
Yeah.
Or this is a bit of an outside shot, but Connor just like distracted by thinking about anti-vaxxers. They're just kind of blacking out.
It's true.
Bloody anti-vaxxers and takes to
He's
the
not
blind.
paying attention to his blind pulling.
True. Oh, yeah, okay. You make some very valid points, and we're fast running through the names of the only few people whose names I know. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? I don't know many of the names of the guys on here. So, excuse me, I'm on Struggle Street a little. But anyway, we head on to Aaron got a rose right on his date, right?
She just hands out roses. He deserved it, but sometimes you're just like, you got to not give some people a rose sometimes.
It's not a given just because you're alone with them.
Yeah.
No,
needs to
but
learn
but it's too early on in the season. You're always going to get the rose on the dates at the start. So Chizzo and Brie from Celebrity Treasure Island turn up.
So good.
And
Yeah. So good.
what is happening?
It's
All the TV
good.
shows. Okay.
They've learned from the masters at MediaWorks that you put all your shows in one, that you cross promote to hell,
Yeah.
and that you do integrations, you do everything. I loved seeing them again. Just Chizzo. I thought Chizzo was gone from my life.
No.
No.
He back.
So
no.
good to see him. And he was coming out. What was it they said about pigs? He's like, we're going to throw the pigskin in the drink. It's just straight off the bat with all of his little
and the
catchphrases.
yeah. You know what? I think it bodes well for the return of Celebrity Treasure Island to see those guys on screen again. I feel like there's a reason they're being kept relevant, and I can't wait. Anyway,
What was the
they
challenge?
play
I've got
some
some
sort of
materials on it. I
island,
love
no?
this challenge. It was
Okay.
a sort of mud rugby where you go for a run, you grab a ball, and you have to score a try.
Mugby.
You've got so many jacked beefcake testosterone mongers in there. Like, it really sort of leaned into the physicality of it, and like I just loved watching it. I also loved the fact that Glenn won, and she was
Yeah.
like, well, the winner was Sensitive Man. Like, it was so, like, you had to give the date to the guy who won. Like, there was no way that you could break that, and she just broke it casually, which I also think bodes well for the series, that she's like, yeah, I'm sort of in control here.
She's going to do what she... Well, it's what she knows exactly what she wants. That was the whole
she
promo
does.
line.
Yeah, that's the whole
And I
thing. She
believe
knows
it.
what she wants. She should have just walked in on night one and went, "You'll do." Flipped a coin, perhaps. And the whole, that would be it. Do you know, though, I feel like it would have been really, I kind of like it when they're really into someone and they're hoping that person will win a challenge, and then the exact person they don't want to win wins, and then they have to go and spend some
Yeah.
time with them. I do
Yeah,
like
that's
that. So, but, you know, I'm sure that'll happen at a later point. She really just didn't, she hated the way that he did that ball pump
But
thing.
that's
Which was,
cool. I mean, I felt like Glenn got hard done by there a bit, because, you know, that's a bit of fun, you know? Like, he's just doing a kind of a try celebration from the TV. Like,
I just don't. I think it's one of those things when you don't like someone, like inherently, you're just not everything they do annoys you. So say if Tavita had done that with someone else, it would have been fine. But the fact that it was Glenn doing it just bothered her to the point where she like mentioned it in her In the Moment interview. Did you notice Tavita's deep V? His D'Angelo-esque.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's like very sculpted.
Who is the most sculpted though?
I mean, that's the only one I noticed. Like in that area.
I put Magic Marc forward.
Magic Marc is definitely the most sculpted. He's got those.
I get very distracted by his wings.
He does have the back V.
Yeah, I get distracted by the angel wings on him.
Yeah.
A lot of tattoos on this program.
So many.
I have noticed. Logan, tatted up to the nines.
Is Logan Frenchy?
Nice.
Logan's Frenchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a surprise.
Doesn't gel with his personality type, which is quite meek.
Yeah.
So
anyway, can we just George the jewelry salesman? She was very condescending towards him. I felt like, when she gave him the one-on-one time after the Mugby game, they went and sat in the back of a car, and he was like, "Are we holding hands or what?" That was cute. He was cute. I think he's delightful.
George.
But I feel like she was just talking to him as if he was a puppy.
I think she likes the beefcakes, and she was like, he's almost like quaint by just having like a normie bod. But yeah, he's lovely, and the bisexual thing does seem really quite,
Yeah, we just kind of quietly dropped there, which I liked. It's not like they made a big sort of.
There's no shocking confession ever.
I missed it.
What? You missed it?
I missed it.
How'd you miss it?
I missed it. So
She missed it.
this is George, right?
Yeah.
Missed it.
George is bisexual.
George is bisexual. He has.
How did he drop that? How did he drop that in?
I think he might have said it in his.
In the moment. I don't think she knows yet.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Oh,
know
okay.
Yet.
Okay. I mean, great for him. He's got her, and if not, he's got perhaps some fellows.
I don't think there are any good choices.
There are none of them for him, are there? Poor George.
Amongst the lads.
Glenn's writing a letter to Lucina.
Oh yeah.
Fuck that letter, eh?
Dear Lucina,
That guy.
I hope I spelt your name right, but if I didn't, I think it's close or something. He read a bit of it out. It was just a disaster.
Didn't she read some of it out as well? Like, it's such a bad letter. and it's like he thinks that the act of writing a letter means that the letter has meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, Logan's story kind of strongly implied was, you just do something and then having done it is enough. But man, it was bad. Glenn is he's a real knucklehead. It's quite funny.
I mean, he's amazing though. Like, I'm so glad they cast him. He's incredible.
Extremely weird.
He's so strange. Like, it's his joke. I mean, I genuinely believe it was a joke about the.
I believe it was a joke too.
Yeah.
But it was just so profoundly strange and unfunny.
And he doubled down on it.
Yeah, he tripled down on
It was
it.
like David Brent vomit cringe.
Please pass Logan the hand cream. That was the worst bit. I felt
That was like the best bit. Every line was a nightmare from which you'll never wake. Oh, God.
Glennie and the lemon.
It was like when you're barely even spoken talking about, I want to make the bed shake. Or whatever the hell.
The lemon, I agree with you, Alex. The lemon was like, it's Tyson 2.0.
Yeah.
In what other country are there two different reality TV shows where one of the contestants bites a motherfucking lemon?
I mean, I can't think of any off the top of my head, Jane.
No. We have all
I
the
just
good
wonder,
people in this
was
country.
it a producer trying to, did he just do it on his own accord?
How?
Sit there on the stairs and bite into a lemon on camera.
Can we have an oral history of that? Like, can we commission that?
I think we could.
I definitely think he did it of his own accord. I definitely think he did.
So basically he's a pickup artist and he's peacocking, but in the weirdest way. Like, he's doing strange stuff all the time to mark himself out as different, to sprinkle a trail of breadcrumbs of intrigue. He has read the game front and back. He knows the whole community. He is probably the treasurer of the New Zealand Pickup Artist Society, and he's just constantly doing stuff. He's like he's mainly doing it in front of the guys or the cameras, which doesn't seem to be helpful in terms of his picking up Lucina.
Yeah.
But B, like, he's just there's a target and he is like shooting the opposite direction. Like, he's so profoundly bad at everything. Man, he's good TV. I just don't know. I'm really worried that they're just going to boot him off like in a couple of episodes, and that'll be that. Because
No way.
she's so clearly like extremely not into him.
Yeah.
Like, we need some kind of
not giving
made up
anything.
excuse for him to stay on for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Get him a job as a barman because they get heaps of time on camera for some reason.
And keep some advice giving. Good advice.
Yeah. But I love the Glenn. Oh, we're getting off track.
We're way off. You're a whole episode ahead, by the way.
But when he
She hasn't- she's
confronted
got-
Mark in that interview,
Oh my
it
God.
was incredible.
Oh, that was insane.
that was the
insane.
first, like, shit, this
That
is like
was-
a proper moment.
That was amazing. I really. Where are we, by the way?
I don't know.
You've gone into the wrong. We haven't.
Let Jane
You're
back
into
us up.
Tuesday night's
Okay, Jane,
episode.
take us back.
You're messing with my timeline. We haven't talked about her going for her wander with Brendan. After Brendan
Brendan?
saying
Brendan's
that.
an idiot pilot.
Yeah, he's
Can't
gone.
even drop his buttons.
Yeah, I know he's gone, but he's the one who brought up Lucina's sister as a possible backup plan. And if she
Well, I
can't
thought that
handle
was a
joke like that,
fine,
she's not very
funny
strong.
joke. Right? Isn't that fine?
No, not in that
no,
situation. You're
But
hanging
again, I think
yourself
this
out
could,
to dry.
I reckon this is like us imposing the fact that we don't like Brendan. Like, if Tavita had said that in a funny way, we'd like it. You know, it's the same as with Glenn's punting the pigskin. Like,
I just think it's a very risky joke. It's much like Glenn's joke. It's a very risky one to put out there with a bunch of guys who are like trying to defend the honour of one woman, because they're going to jump at anything that anyone else does to make that person look bad.
But if Art had done the joke,
Oh, that'd be
like,
funny.
Oh, that's a wonderful
funny,
joke.
yeah.
Oh, give him the Billy T.
Anyway, Brendan goes for a wander with old mate Lucina. He says he likes to have his own space, doesn't like being around people all the time, needs a spark instantly, and then takes a long time to get into things. And it's like, probably not the show for you.
Well, also doesn't have a spark with Lucina. I think his walls were up. Old Brendan,
Yeah.
fly away, mate.
Anyway, yes. Okay, so I think it's time to move on. Brendan got sent home. Did that happen? Oh no, we start
Yeah.
with the rose ceremony in the next episode.
There was a bit of tension as to whether it was going to be young Flynn. Well, they tried to make it look like
Or Connor. Yeah, old
Right. yeah.
zippered up mouth Connor.
Before we fully get into Tuesday night, should we just talk about the spin-off members just briefly?
Hello, beloved Corny. I've got some breaking news for you. You may or may not know we've launched the Spin-Off Members program. This is a program that allows you, our readers, to contribute to the future direction of our coverage. If you donate over $80, you get a free tea towel illustrated by the legend himself, Toby Morris. I am on it, if that matters to you. If you become a part of our members club, you can support us hiring more journalists. You can tell us what you like, what you don't like about what the spin-off's doing, and you can also tell us what you'd like to see in the future. If you want more information on it, you can go to www.thespinoff.co.nz/members.
Okay, and we're back.
We're back.
Tuesday night, we started with the rose ceremony. Brendan got kicked out, and then we cruised to a single date on a boat with, who was it? Tavita.
This is
having a laugh.
the date that
Hanging out.
divides a podcast.
I know. They went straight to do the Titanic thing. You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that with nobody.
No,
That's
no.
a sacred thing.
Has she discussed the fact that that he was on a prior reality TV show Looking for Love? Does that come up between them?
I feel like it has, but it might have been just that it came up with Art. It's been on the show. It's been nodded out on the show.
I think when he walked with when he had the blow up island, she's were you on Heartbreak Island?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh, okay.
She was like, cool.
They talk really easily, but she's not sure if he's rehearsed or not. So Tavita's the one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on when the second Bachelorette is revealed.
I mean,
I just have
she's her central question with Tavita is like, is the laddish larrikin Tavita the real Tavita, or is the sort of sensitive listening Tavita that you are with me the real one? And I think it's like obvious that he's there for a good time, upping his gram situation, and if he finds love, then I guess fine, you know. That like it's to me it seems so obvious that because if he was really there to be focused on finding love, then she would have no clue that he has that laddish side, because he's got hours every day to be that, and then he has these only tiny windows when he's with her at the cocktail party and so on, and it's like he would be focused on that and on being the good guy, but he's obviously, you know, being the larrikin. So I just don't buy Tavita at all for a single minute.
Counterpoint. Did you see him at the cocktail party when he was dressed in all black? Because he looked good.
I don't know if that's a counterpoint.
I'm not sure that's a counterpoint as such, but it is a point.
It's definitely a point.
It's a good point.
It's a point.
I don't know. Like his Instagram, he's like a PMA every day, very earnest seeming mindset guy.
Funny job title, right?
Totally. And I think she likes that. And I think he seems at least consistent on his Instagram, whether it's kind of performative or not, saying these really heartfelt, long, like thoughtful, reflective posts with a photo of him with no shirt on. So I don't know if this is all an act. He's doing a great job.
He's very good at it. I think he's doing a great job if it's an act. Yeah, I agree.
They're going to pass heaps, but he won't win, okay? I don't think he's the winner. But I don't think he's the winner. What they have is Sunland.
Anyway, what else? Liam thinks there are too many peasants in amongst the men, a.k.a. too many characters. Is that an Australian thing?
Yeah, I reckon.
That peasants means characters?
I'm not familiar with that.
I don't know the peasants thing, but I enjoy the use of characters as a sort of an insult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ignoring that he was like, we'll kind of build as one of the biggest characters in episode 1.
Okay. Lucina, back to the date. Lucina challenges Tavita to jump into the water. He does. It's cold. They have a little wet hug. That's what I can't think of a better way to term that. They have a hug.
A wet hug.
Also, second time, there's been allusions to bloody privates.
Yeah.
When he's like,
what was it?
It's pretty cold or whatever.
Oh,
I'm not wearing any
honestly,
undies.
single day is all about the pain.
You've got
Aaron's harness, Tavita's shorts. I love
You've got to get it. You've got such a limited time with her. You've got to, you've got to make your mark, as it were. And that's how they've chosen to do that. And I look forward to seeing how the rest of the season pans out. Where are we? Eating. Food. The food looked yum. I thought we don't see people eating on The Bachelor much, in the international franchise. They're actually eating the food, which is good. Get a real feel for someone when they're actually having a meal with them. So I appreciated that. This is when Glenn talked about Tavita having kissed Lucina without his permission. Blah, 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 blah. Glenn apologised to Marc for the joke while he's doing his in the moment interview. Marc,
this is the one time when I felt bad for Glenn, because I thought it was a sincere apology.
It was a sincere apology.
No, it wasn't. He said sorry if you felt that way.
Yeah,
it was totally fake.
But that's just because he doesn't know how to apologise.
But also because it was genuinely a joke.
But I buy that it was a shit joke. It was like one of the a bottom 3 joke of the year, really, really outstandingly bad joke, and comes from a bad place. Like if you think that that's a joke, you've got issues that we need probably 2 years of therapy to unravel. But I don't think that he intended it as it was received. And I do think that the apology was genuine. I think the fact that Marc didn't take an apology reflects poorly on Marc, that he was just really grudging and sort of seemed to want to further torture Glenn. Like, I don't have a lot of time for either of them, to be honest. Though I did like his fourth wall break.
I am so Team Marc. Because imagine what we haven't seen on camera as well. I feel like Glenn would just have been a nightmare to be around. And then he comes in trying to do this big, again, it has to be on camera, the apology, has to interrupt, has to be a big spectacle. Sorry you felt that way. I also just loved it. It was like the most blokish conversation. Like not staring at each other, be like, oh yeah, no, all good, yeah. Oh, sorry if you felt that way.
Keita and Nita turn up for a challenge. How good?
Love it. Perfectly timed. House of Drags season 1 starts February 1st. Something.
Well, what a coincidence.
I feel a little ripped off in this because I feel like I didn't get to see I really wanted to see, what's the guy who did it, he did a drag. He actually did drag as his thing. I didn't get to see it. I wanted to see it.
Flynn is really good looking.
Grab a snapshot of it.
The best thing was Flynn when he wasn't on stage, just sitting in full drag watching him.
Yes.
Yeah. Like it was ultra normal.
I liked it. It really endeared me to him.
This whole thing was great.
Wonderful.
So entertaining.
Oh, so good.
The greatest showman.
Oh, yeah.
Holy hell.
The greatest showman, baby. And then like a huge. And then what was that? I don't even know what happened. Like a big magic thing appeared.
It cut. And then it just cut to Marc stripping, I think.
Far out. They had an hour and they came up with some absolute slam dunks. Man, it was cool.
While Marc's stripping, she pours oil out of a bottle on him. Like it looks like cooking oil maybe, and it's in a water bottle.
Yeah, with like masking tape over the label. It's good. It's good.
Oh, God. And then he jumps into the water. I have a really tight issue with someone who's covered in bloody virgin olive oil jumping into the water, into the pool. He's going to leave a nasty, slicky layer on top of that water.
That pool is going to be flat out disgusting already. That water needs to go into like a whatever they do with like nuclear waste kind of shit. All those lads in there.
Glenn did a cool rap, which we've already talked a little bit about. It was terrible in every sense, but amazing
really
television.
Was it even a rap? I don't even know.
I feel like he was trying to make it a rap. He was trying to put some, beats in there. And
I don't think he's ever heard a rap, but he's heard about a rap.
I think he's heard
I tell you what,
once.
No, I'll tell you what he's heard. He's heard Dean from Maths Australia rapping. And that's what he thinks is rapping.
And maybe Jump Around by House of Pain.
Possibly.
I think he rhymed chat with lap at one stage as well, which is quite, it was like, comes on my lap, which is like, don't say that.
Oh,
and then maybe we could have a chat.
Come on, Glenn.
Connor thought it was good. Connor quite liked it.
I was annoyed that Connor wasn't part of the talent quest because what would it have been like a disc? What could it possibly?
It would have been a Pecha Kucha about
yes, it would.
vaccinations.
Yeah, the science behind vaccinations.
Quinn, as we mentioned, gets full nude, does a flip into the oily water, the oil slick. And Logan gets up to sing a lovely song, presumably because he's carrying a guitar, but that's a red herring. He's in fact done a little story with stick figures. Very cute.
Very cute.
Very, very cute.
weird.
And she loved it. Again, she was
high
a bit
risk, high reward, this one. Like, you could have got sent home for that if she was a different kind of person.
No one's sending you home for the storybook.
But it was
He won the time.
And all of that. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And given that it was a lot, I feel like he just could have put a little bit more into the actual drawing.
And the story. Like, it was just the boilerplate Bachelorette story, right? And all the Souls chat, I was like, fuck, are you, what religion are you? And you're scaring me with...
He talked about God, coming down from God, right?
Bloody heck.
I did like this rose thing. That reveal of what the rose said I thought was very sweet.
Yeah, and being French, that's so many extra points.
Oh, God.
And they're the same age within a few weeks of each other, which means nothing, but gives you something to talk about.
They had the most instantly natural conversation, I reckon, of any of the chattering.
Really?
Do you reckon?
Yep. It was just easy.
Wow.
He won alone time with her and they went and just stood on a bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought it was, and then she's like, why are you here? Or something. He's a klutz. He talked about being a klutz a lot. He cut his finger doing the story.
Sounded quite bad. How do you do that?
She saw it, yeah.
Like, were you carving the story into the page with a hunting knife?
Paper cut, surely a paper cut.
Hell of a podcast, actually.
It's true. Shout out.
Right. And then we go to the beginning of the cocktail party. Lucina's got a big surprise. She's pregnant.
Good on her. That was funny.
That was great.
So well delivered.
Do you know what? Even though I knew what was coming, I was still like, oh, twist. There's a big twist. Like, I dove in there for just the smallest of seconds.
Same. Well, especially because it worked with the Coke on Cocktail Party Night 1.
True.
Ah.
That's method acting right there. She is an actor. We know this. It's in her. It's in her history. It's in her bio. I don't know how she manages it with being a doctor, but I'm pretty sure she's had some acting experience. There you go.
Maybe she's Maybe she's not really a doctor. Maybe she's an actor doctor.
Well, there was
And
that
there's
guy
going
in
to be
Short
some
Street who was
malpractice
famously
suits
a real
filed.
doctor and played a doctor. Remember back in the day? Remember, Jane?
What? Shorten
Back in the
Street?
day? Yeah.
Who?
There was that doctor who was a real doctor in real life and also an actor played a doctor on Shorten Street.
Don't remember it, but I will be Googling it. Anyway, so there's a big surprise. There's another Bachelorette. Who could it possibly be? No clue.
What have you got to say about
Biting
that?
into an almond here. Let's just
What
say
you should be
next
doing
week
is throwing
I'm
up
going to
a
be
shoey.
issuing a lot of tickets for people to do shoeys in the Real Pod Corner.
A huge helping of humble pie.
Yeah,
For-
all of that.
Did anyone in the corner say they would do a shoey if I just thought you were just
I think people have started saying it already. There's going to be a lot
right.
of shoeys.
I think
Yeah, I think
started
it
a
has
thing where
to
people
be.
will like
Has to be
want to do
revenge
shoeys.
Mass shoey.
Personally, I think you need to undo your shoey by vomiting it out.
Vomiting.
An undouie.
And undo a shoey undouie.
Yeah. That's definitely not as bad. as doing a shoey.
It's
Can't
completely
wait to do that.
contextless for our new listeners. Hi, new listeners. Alex Casey had a theory some time back that Lily McManus was going to be the Bachelorette, and when Dr. Lucina, and she said, if Lily's not the Bachelorette, I'm going to do a shoey. And Lily was not announced as the Bachelorette, so Alex did a shoey. We have reason to believe that Lily may well be the person.
I think
who's
we know.
revealed next
It
week.
begins with L, and we've seen the bottom of her legs, and they look just like Lily's legs.
There are matching knee tattoos,
That
Okay,
is
so-
quite a lot.
unless they've gone to
Lots.
great lengths to lead us astray, which is possible, you know.
So we won't have confirmation until Sunday? Is it
Is
Sunday?
this John
Monday?
and Ben's
Wednesday
new
night?
show?
Monday.
Is punking the real pod, but with all of these breadcrumbs.
no.
This is the lettuce. This is Taylor Swift on a lime all over again. How many shows?
one.
Yeah,
Is this John and Ben?
yeah. So John and Ben have pranked. Well, I don't think. Does it feel like they've intentionally targeted you?
Yep.
They
does.
did the fake Taylor Swift online,
does.
and they did Jules Tucker eating a lettuce, and Alex wrote both of them up as news stories, basically.
Jules Tucker, I did not. Jules Tucker, I merely folded into a profile of him.
Credulously, you bought it. Oh, we all bought it. It was very.
We did
that's-
all buy it.
Look, credit to John and Ben. These are so plausible. Maybe not Taylor Swift on a lime, but you know,
I
like,
had 2 standard drinks when I wrote that story.
really,
It was a Friday afternoon.
Don't drink
it
and
might
write.
have been more.
It might have been more, actually.
Could have been 2.4. Were
We don't
they
know.
happy days?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 1.2, I think.
Oh, man. See?
Anyway, if it is in fact revealed that Lily is the second Bachelorette, Alex is saying that all the haters and the doubters are going to have to do shoes.
And I'm going to tell
if
you
you
to
hate
go
it or
back and
doubt
check
it,
all the tapes
clean your shoes.
and check the headline that I said compelling. I think Lily Mannis is going to be on The Bachelorette.
Has it always said that? You didn't edit that
It's
in
always
post?
said that. I said that in the moment because you can't be sure. And it's not like us to publish, fake news.
Faked news. In fact.
Faked news, that's right.
With this new information, I feel like there's a possibility Max Key really may still turn up on this show. He's still be MIA. He's still not active online, which is like his whole thing is to be active online. So I actually have no clue. I don't know at all whether or not he is, but I'm hoping for it. They always bring some intruders in. I feel
What's
like
the
Max Key would be
bounty
a
on
great
that? If
intruder.
Max Key is on it, the cornies have to do a yardie.
A welly, yeah.
It's the only way.
Yardie is fair. He would fit right in with all those young lads.
He would. This is perfect. He's used to living in a mansion as well. Like, it's all, this is his dream. Those guys would be a captive audience. And he's good with a GoPro.
It's great. With
It's all right there.
He might already be shooting it.
You think that he's, like, there'll be a surprise reveal where they're like, one of the crew is actually going to become one of the cast, and then the camera turns around and there's Max Key with his
The
selfie
mole
stick.
peels off his face, and it's been Max Key
Exactly.
the whole time.
Maybe Daryl isn't Daryl. He's Max Key underneath all that makeup.
That's what I literally just said.
Yeah.
Did you just say that?
Say it one more time. Can I just say as well, the mole, what's his real name? Daryl. On Instagram, a hell of a follow.
Real?
That man is
He's-
producing videos. And his
He's-
voice
yeah.
and his, it's just incredible. But I like how he's kind of made himself the main character of The Bachelorette New Zealand. It's really awesome. I think he's great and
He's
great
so
casting.
good. Such good casting.
He's
such great
barely
performance.
on the show so far. Like, he hasn't really been doing much moling in terms of reporting back to Lucina yet. So I'm interested to see how that plays out and what his role will be once the new Bachelorette turns up. How that'll will he be a mole for her as well?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
What's that
Did you hear that? That's Siri.
Oh.
Siri's just chatting to me. No, go away. So anyway, watch this space. Lots of things happening on the Bachelorette NZ, and we can't wait to talk about it all.
What podcast was this?
Sorry if that sounded a bit weird. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But anyway, real news. This is the section of the podcast that usually turns up at the top of the podcast where we talk about interesting things that are happening in the news. There's nothing interesting happening in the news. I've literally got 2 pieces and they're not even from New Zealand.
What do you got, Jane?
So I've got The Bachelor US, from the producers of The Bachelor US. They're now casting seniors looking for love.
I love
Are
this.
you entering your golden years and looking for romance? They're doing a show.
I felt like this was an opportunity for a long time. I feel like, have we even talked about it on the show? Maybe, like out the back of Mr. Fluffy and stuff. Like, they're a great untapped resource because I don't think like they're much less likely to be on it for the Instagram fame. I think they're a lot less. It's a whole population that you haven't tapped in the way that you've really drained the low ones. I'm so pumped about this idea.
Me too. And I feel like actually it might even introduce us to a whole world of seniors that we didn't realize exist, which are seniors who are Instagram hungry. And that I do want to see that.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see that.
Such a
If it exists, if it's out there, I want to know about it. Anyway, what do you think that the bottom age cap is?
well, I thought they said 65.
65.
Yeah,
That's the minimum?
yeah.
That's the minimum. It's quite, I mean, no offense to any
I reckon
of our
that's quite young, to be
older
honest.
listeners.
So can I say that I think this I have pitched this show before, which is like a reality. It's a sort of a reality documentary set at an old people's home, because apparently like because of mortality stats being what they are, there's a lot more women than men at old people's homes, and so single men are like in high demand, and there is like quite a scene of older women trying to get at them, and I've always thought that would make great TV. And I actually like the idea of even a general, like 65 is quite young. You can look basically normal.
I know,
at
I understand, but
65.
I think I'd like to lower it to 55 to see some really interesting age differences. Like a 55-year-old going out on a date with
Like
a
Ben and Yvonne.
79-year-old.
Like a how many year old?
What is it, Jane?
I said 79 this time.
Oh,
Not going to fall in that trap again. Thanks very much. Anyway, if you're interested, if you're listening and you're interested, seniordatingshow.castingcrane.com is where you need to go.
but it's only America, right?
It is the Bachelor franchise, though, right?
Yes,
From the makers
well,
of The
it's-
Bachelor.
It's from the producers, so it's not. But this, however, this crazy spin-off coming from The Bachelor franchise to be hosted by Chris Harrison, there is a new singing show. Well, not singing show, music Bachelor fusion show called
God.
Listen to Your Heart.
No.
Yes. So I thought it was a singing competition show. It's not. What it is it's a romance show looking for love, but it's going to be with musicians.
I hate it.
I'm
It's
into
too
it.
much.
I just like the old Bachelor. Is that what it's going to be called? I hope so.
The old Bachelor.
Or
So
The Bachelor, but old.
how this has come about is that the Bachelor franchise is like gained such momentum over here that they need something to plug the gap between the Bachelor airing, which airs in like January, it's on air now, and the Bachelorette, which starts in May. So there's a tiny window where there's like no batch stuff on air, and so they're shoehorning this new show in there. It's nuts because, of course, Bachelor in Paradise kicks off after the Bachelorette. So basically, it's going to get to a point where it's just year-round some sort of Bachelor show on, which I have no problem with whatsoever.
Just not to get too media commentary on it, but it's like the NBA has trade deadline, WNBA, Summer League, like they have basically turned that into a year-round franchise for the same reason. Like if you have demand, especially in an era where it's very difficult to get people to watch linear television outside of and reality TV event driven, it makes perfect sense. And it's just I love I think that we're going to see so much more of this in New Zealand because it's the last kind of product differentiation that you have for linear television. And my fervent hope is that we get more of the sort of the micro franchises, the spin-offs, because I reckon that's where a lot of the good stuff's happening. It certainly is with the Bachelorette.
Some of the spin-offs, like Bachelor in Paradise is amazing. Like it's amazing viewing. It does this incredible thing where it doesn't put me off The Bachelor because I kind of need to watch The Bachelor to get context for Bachelor in Paradise. But I think I probably prefer watching Bachelor in Paradise in general.
We're starting
but I have to watch the other to enjoy the new one. And it's just it's actually brilliant. It's a great strategy.
Are we going to get Bachelor in Paradise here? Because we never had the materials before, but now that we've got Bachelorette,
shitloads now.
Can we pull from? Can they pull from crossing over networks? That's fine, right?
yeah.
You said they could pull Heartbreak Island ladies. Get your Harry
is that all right? But is that
That's not all right. You can't cross franchise.
Can't you?
You can no.
not for Bachelor? No, you've got to be an alum, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you've got to be alum.
Don Bowden?
Yeah, and there's talk apparently on Reality Steve, who's like the spoiler, does all the spoilers for The Bachelor over here in the US, and he's saying that there's talk about summer games akin to the winter games that our own Geordie Porty and Lily featured on.
And Ellie.
And that other one, Ellie, that's it.
She spewed on
So,
camera.
it'd be interesting to see if any New Zealanders turn up in that. And that's it. That's all I've got. Have you guys got any real news?
No, this is the show, right? This is the show for the next few weeks.
This is the show. Yeah, we're going to be talking 98% Bachelorette and then maybe a couple of quirky news stories.
And maybe a little bit of Maths AU, depending on what the talent's like.
I'm not watching it.
I'm going to watch it.
Well, you're not going to watch
Too
it
much.
at all.
It's too much telly. I mean, I'll try and catch some, but I've got too much going on at the moment.
It's just the last year was one of the best experiences of my life.
You got to see Lizzie. She back.
She back, Jane.
Okay, you've twisted my rubber elbow. I'll watch it. I'll dive in. The cornies won't be happy. They want us to they don't want us talking maths, by the way.
They don't.
No. They've done a poll. Don't want us talking about it for the most part.
Well, no, we won't for the most part. But
yeah,
what if
we won't for the most part. We'll be talking about it we'll talk about it relative to the split of people who want us to talk about it versus the people who don't.
Not even that much.
So I think
just a little.
Yeah. Just a wink, really. Just a wink of
salacious
discussion.
wink.
Okay, and that's our podcast for this week. We will be back next week. Can't wait. And I have nothing else to add.
Thank you,
There's
Nando's.
Thank you, Nando's.
Always an awkward out. Thanks,
Thank you,
Nando's.
Alice Webladill, subbing in for Tina T, who's in Bali.
She's in
Or
Bali.
on Bali.
Having a bachelorette in paradise of her own, really.
Oh, my goodness.
She almost looked scared of what she was going to do in Bali. It was real cool. So we'll get some reporting from Tina in a couple of weeks.
Also, if you like this podcast, if you're watching The Bachelorette and you have friends who are watching it, please tell them to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Because they might like it. They might not. It could tear your friendship apart, but I think it's worth it.
I think we should, next time, let's say that at the top of the podcast rather at the tail end.
I heard a podcast the other day where they did it at the end. It was a very professional one.
Right. Okay, I'm just saying, I feel like this particular podcast, we may have lost people along the way.
No.
I don't know. I think back yourself.
Okay.
If they're here now, they're still listening.
I don't even think we should tell people to share it. That's how much I'm backing myself.
No. Don't listen to Jane. She's gone crazy. She just destroyed a door.
Yeah.
Please share it.
Yeah, and rate and review us. Rank it. What was it? Review 5 stars on iTunes and that. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I caught it all with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
Kia ora, this is Toby Manhire, here to urge you to tune in to Gone by Lunchtime, a podcast with me, Annabelle Lee Mather and Ben Thomas, tackling the world of New Zealand politics, from policy to polling, from scandal to psychodrama. Listen to Gone by Lunchtime, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network, wherever good pods are sold.
The Spin-Off Podcast Network.